Hi, everybody. Once again, it's time for Crestview Coaches Corner with the legendary Coach Paul Cusick. We call him Coach Q on this show. Coach Q, so far, my goodness, a little magic at home with that turf as you guys rolled it out because points are aplenty when people are playing you in the Crestview Dome. What has it been like for you to turn it on? I mean, to put on just the best show on turf, so to speak, when you guys take the field?
Well, I think it's important to use our weapons and use our speed, and the turf is a showcase for that. And we stumbled week one. I think it was a little bit of a wake-up call for our team, and we righted the ship. And our guys would get after it. I think more than anything, we are fast and do have good team speed. But man, are we playing physical? I really like how physical our team is playing.
And you and I over the years have talked about physicality and speed and the combination, and you've got one heck of a recipe right now. When you guys looked at the tape, and not to go too far back, but when you looked at the tape of week one, what major adjustments have you seen in the weeks following that has made you one of the best teams in the area?
Well, I think the adjustment was plain and simple: get your head out of your butt and play football, and that's what we did. And I think that was that simple. Don't take anything for granted. And, what I've been preaching to the kids is every down's a money down. And that's kind of what
what's been interesting
we've focused on.
Yeah, what's been interesting for you is it's a different guy seemingly every week is stepping up for you, Coach Q. I mean, what's the magic potion that you're feeding these guys in the locker room on Thursday that gets them ready for Friday night? Last week it was William Hardenbrook. The week before that, you've got another guy and another guy. I mean, your seniors are really playing like seniors this year. Do you attribute that to last year having no seniors and these guys having basically 2 senior years?
Well, I do think that is part of it. I think they learned a lot from last year. Got a lot of confidence second half of the to change and get better for us, and they grew up, and I think they have that confidence now that they understand that they're the leaders, and they need to make the plays, and it's their responsibility. We talk about our tradition here, and now it's your turn, and I think those guys understand that and they respect that, and I think that's important in our program as we move forward.
You've been able to take on some monster teams so far. When you look at East Liverpool, when you look at who you're playing this week, Newton Falls, a very traditional, rich team that's rich in winning history at their school. This could be another very big win for the program. But when they look at it, they have to play Crestview. You are, again, I don't want to say it and jinx you, but you're one of the hottest teams in the area with the most points and the fastest and most physical. What do you look to when you play Newton Falls, which is always a physical game?
Well, I think more than anything, we talked about a lot. We made a lot of mistakes last week. We got a lot of penalties and things like that. So we got to focus on what we got to do to get better. And my belief is that we need to put pressure on the other team in all 3 phases. That's why we play fast. That's why we do what we do defensively. That's why we might onside or a punt block or something like that to really put the pressure and make that other team just feel a little bit uncomfortable, and hopefully we can take advantage of that. And that's what we're going to do. That's always part of our game plan, and I think our kids understand that, and it makes it exciting for them.
What's the mantra for this year's team? I know you guys always have one of those mottos that you go by. What's the mantra of this year's team, and are they living up to it?
Well, right now, what we have it on the back of our T-shirts. It's simply play fast. And play fast means not only just fast, but then you have confidence in what you're doing. You have confidence in your teammates, and it just lets you play with everything hanging out there and just go. And I think that's what we're doing. So it's very simple. It's play fast, and it's back on the back of our T-shirts, and that's our goal: play fast.
Have you seen anything, major challenges up to this point that you didn't expect with COVID and things of that nature that you've had to overcome?
Well, I think our kids have been pretty resilient. I think all of the teams in the area and the teams in the league are doing a good job of trying to. So no real surprises. I think that the one thing that sometimes people forget, that it is not a return to normalcy. There is a little bit of oddity to it. That it's not normal, and you still have to respect the situation, because the bottom line is it's not about me. It's not about who's in the stands. It's about the guys on the field. And whether it's whatever sport it is, our fans and our parents have to respect that and do what they need to do to allow our student athletes to keep playing. So that's what I'm hoping, that all the sports get. You just never know week to week.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And you look at the way things are shaking out. It looks, at least fingers crossed, it looks like we're going to get some playoffs. A different year. I mean, you're going to have to, you personally, you're going to have to seed some teams and be seeded yourself. Very similar to basketball, very similar to baseball, how they do things. Is there some, I mean, I don't want to say fear because you're not afraid of it, but is there some concern about where you could wind up seated and who you'll play the first couple rounds if you don't get a bye?
Well, I think so. I'm hoping that we have enough respect or enough tradition and been through the playoffs through the number of years that we have been, that we showcase what we can do and get a top seed. Obviously you want to play at home. That bye concerns me because that's a little odd to do that in the middle of the season. We don't traditionally do that. But in this year, things aren't normal, so it probably will be okay. You figure it out, and kids are resilient and figure out what you're going to do that week. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. It is odd playing the playoffs right in the middle of the season, but it's a good compromise that the OHSA came up with because we didn't know where we would be. I think most people didn't even think we would get this far.
No, I think that most people thought we would get one game and be done with it. And here we are sitting here week 5, getting ready for obviously, inching towards that playoff. Let's step off the field a little bit, kind of. College football, I know you're a big football fan, even off the field. I mean, with the Big Ten coming back, do you think that there's a little bit of a stigma? Let's say, they're only going to play 8 games, other teams are going to play 10. Do you think that the Big Ten deserves to be in the championship kind of realm, even if somebody like Ohio State runs the table? If there's another team that goes 10-0,
well, that's a good question because you have the Power 5 conferences and everybody puts them up head and shoulders above the others, and all that kind of stuff. So, if you're not playing on a level playing field, you're not playing by the same rules, regardless of what it is. So how can you do that in a national championship and you're 6-0 and somebody else is 8-2, or whatever it is. So it is unfair that way. So that is a tough call. The bottom line is when they have the playoffs, obviously the NCAA wants the best team there, but it's also about marketing. It's also about making money. Ohio State, regardless, is one of the best programs in the nation, but they also have the biggest draw. They're gonna do that. So, I'm a big Ohio State fan. I'm a Big Ten fan, but if they're playing less games and somebody's playing more, how is that fair? But this isn't a year to be fair. That things aren't, even though things are equal, things are not equal, and that's just the way it is. So, regardless, I think that it'll shake out in the end, and the teams that typically make the playoffs in the NCAA are the best teams. And they are usually pretty head and shoulders above number 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's why, expanding the playoffs would be interesting. But a lot of times too, does that make it for more money? But I like how the other levels do the 16 teams and things like that. I think that's very doable in Division I.
So you were always rooting for the underdog. You're a guy that's been the underdog pretty much your entire life. Talk to me about some of these schools. UCF a few years ago going undefeated and claiming themselves as national champions. Does this Corona situation present itself an opportunity for an underdog to step up and to play with the big boys this year? And outside of Ohio State, if they're playing somebody else, are you rooting for them?
Well, I always do like to see those mid-range teams be able to make a run. But in football, in reality, if you were to play that schedule week to week and you're that underdog team, you're just not going to survive. That's just the way it is. You have teams that are underdog teams that in any given weekend, they can beat somebody. But if they have to play that schedule week in and week out, they're not. And that's like with us. When we were playing bigger schools, you could see the toll that it took on us week to week. Yeah, we were able to get some wins, but down the road, you are so beat up. By the time you reach the playoffs, it is very much a grind. So I'm always rooting for those underdogs and those teams that are innovative and things like that. This might be the year though, because they don't have to, play multiple teams, and in a 2-week season, they could do some damage. But I can't see them getting in. I just don't see them getting the votes to get in.
So, all right, so here's the last question. It's a curveball, no pun intended. This year in baseball, naturally, the goal was, the goal was to go to 60 games. With the teams getting into the playoffs, do you feel, from your personal, and you're a sports fan just like I am, do you feel there should be an asterisk next to whoever wins the World Series this year because it wasn't a full season?
No, it's a season, and that's the way it goes. I mean, regardless of how it is, when you had anything that's happened in American history, back when there was the Spanish flu, back when there's World War II, World War I, or anything like that, all that stuff, it's just part of history. So there should be no asterisk. This is what you're dealt. You can only play your schedule, and same thing with the NBA. That's the way it goes, and no asterisk.
I love it. Coach Q, thank you for your time. Good luck against Newton Falls. We're always rooting for you here at YSN. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, DJ. Appreciate you guys. Have a good day.